that. Like, what would the NYPD be doing if they have proof that the NYPD has used that van for
It's
interstate commerce?
no,
like,
the vehicles in general.
just
Like
in general.
that's why I'm saying like this to
How
me.
does that make sense?
It doesn't.
No,
What
it doesn't.
what makes more sense is that the FBI and the DOJ are taking it seriously.
Yeah.
These are violent
What
extremists.
would the NYPD?
They're terrorists trying to cut the brake lines. That could have killed 9 police officers who would be in the
Absolutely.
van.
And what is allegedly casing the Verrazano Bridge? Like, what is that? They're gonna blow it up? What are they gonna?
I don't know.
It's a suspension
Yeah.
bridge. So if they hit the right cables, the whole thing could crumple down. Like that can kill thousands of people. I'm sure millions of people go over that bridge every day.
These are crazy people.
It's crazy.
To be fair, I do want to stress I'm very much a fan of innocent until proven guilty. So,
But when they were surveilling him and watching him cut the brake lines,
it's still their allegations. Like
okay.
you show me a video of the guy doing it, and that's a different story.
Sure.
Even then, I'll be like, is it the same guy? There's a photo, you can't tell it's him. They show a photo of a guy under the van, and they're making these accusations against him. Here's the thing, man. Look,
So what we've seen,
I'm not gonna
what
say the
they've
guy's
showed-
name.
the photo that they've given to the public of him under the van.
it's it's actually the FBI affidavit.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was submitted to the judge, but it's public record, so you can see the photo of the guy under the van.
Wow. Okay.
And they're saying it's him. There was one of those wall of moms. So the other day, it was a riot in Portland, and of course the Democrats and these leftists on Twitter are lying every single day nonstop, saying now that the feds are gone, everything's peaceful.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not been true one time.
Yeah, they just switched from the courthouse to now the East Precinct, and they're
Yeah.
they're trying to burn
and,
that down
and
now.
residential neighborhoods
And residential areas.
And
yep.
the moms, one of them got arrested for felony rioting and was released right away.
Yeah, and there's a video of one of those moms that just like trying to rile up the crowd, like, we're here to F stuff up. We're here to F stuff up. We're here to F stuff up. Like, just like, what? You're wearing the mom shirt. Like, you're for peace, aren't
Propaganda.
you? No, you're not. They want to F
Lies.
stuff up. That's what they're about.
Andy No called it.
Andy, no. What
When
a
the
boss.
moms first appeared and their arms were linking together and they were like, but we're just mothers. Andy said, I recognize many of these women. They're Antifa. They're lying.
Yep.
It's propaganda. Sure enough, now that the riots are continuing, they're actually overtly engaged in the riots wearing the yellow shirts.
Yep.
You know what really, really, really got me angry today?
Ooh, really, really, really angry.
Really, really.
Wow.
And I was reading about Night 70 of the ongoing riots in
Night
Portland, and the article from Oregon Live had 16 instances of the word protester, and I believe 2 instances of the word demonstrators
Wow.
in an article titled "Police Declare Riot." And I'm like,
Where are the rioters?
Stop. Just say it. There is a weird cognitive dissonance going on in the
Clearly.
narrative of the far left riots and extremism.
Yeah.
Where it's like I can tell their fingers are probably like shaking as they type the word protester, and their eyes are twitching from. It's like it's not true, but I have to say it.
Yeah.
Protester.
They're not protesting anything right now.
No, they're just trying to burn stuff down.
Yeah, they're straight up simply rioters, period. No confusion. The protesters left. They don't have their shield anymore. You see who they're. It's all just Antifa burning stuff. Rioters.
I wonder why they backed off the courthouse, because the feds did not leave. There's a video where the feds are walking around sweeping up trash, and the left is screaming at them,
Yeah.
and the feds are just sweeping up trash. That for some reason, the far leftists, Antifa, stopped throwing the explosives. Now, it was initially reported that other protesters stopped them. That says to me they wanted the opening for the propaganda.
Yep.
Once it was announced by the Democrats, by Kate Brown, that the feds were withdrawing, even though it's not true and they're still there, all of a sudden the protesters stopped Antifa from throwing explosives. Then, when there was no fighting, they said, oh, look, now there's no fighting. You see, it was Trump's fault. Meanwhile, that same day, when they claimed there was no fighting, there was a bunch of far leftists rioting through residential neighborhoods 100 miles south in Springfield, Oregon.
Wow.
And then since then, as they've been saying, see, the federal courthouse is all peaceful now. It was Trump's fault. The feds are still there. They didn't leave.
I know. They're all
But
still there.
now Antifa's going to residential neighborhoods. They went to some woman's house and they physically attacked her on her property. Now, mind you, like we mentioned, this lady was acting a fool. She was wearing a Nazi
Doesn't matter.
armband.
Yeah.
But you don't go to someone's property and attack them on their property. They were screaming at her, take it off, and it's like, yo, bro, she's in her own house.
They were blasting her with those lasers.
They were trying to permanently maim her.
Yep.
People don't realize it, man, and this lady didn't realize it. The green lasers they use will permanently blind you.
Yep.
I am not exaggerating. It's not a joke. They will hold it in your face, and if you look at it, you could be blind for the rest of your life. There's a tool that they use, and they've used for a long time, called the Dazzler. This is used by law enforcement. It's used in the Middle East, and it's a powerful green laser. They point at your face, and they click it and blast you, and it makes you blind for about 30 seconds. So the easiest way to explain it is like if you've ever looked at a light directly, and then you get those spots. Imagine that covered your entire field of vision.
Forever.
Just wiping out your ability to see, just frying your lenses or whatever, how it works.
It's crazy.
So we use these. They're weapons. And they were doing it to this woman because they didn't like that she was wearing an offensive garment.
Honestly, I don't like it either.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have no problem, swearing at her or something. You know what I mean? I'd be like, get out. Like, you know what, man? The problem with a lot of these people that think they can wear this to antagonize is they look, they're not doing what they think they're doing.
Right.
They're just looking like idiots. So, but you know what? I mind my own business. Am I going to walk up to somebody's house and swear at them? No, I'm not going to do it. If I saw somebody in public, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to stay away from that kind of person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go do your thing. You get away from me. You want to start trouble with me, you'll find trouble, but I'm going to mind my own business. For them to go to somebody's house, here's what's important about this in terms of escalation. It was never going to be something, ridiculous like Antifa shows up at someone's house, knocks on the door and says, we couldn't help but notice the wind chimes. Yeah, well, wind chimes actually come from this country, so prove. It wasn't going to be ridiculous. It's going to be incremented. So now they're going to say we're justified in doing it because of what she was wearing. Now that the media has not, where are the headlines? Where's CNN? Where's any of these outlets to be like, yo, don't go to people's houses? Nowhere.
Well, they don't want anyone knowing that Antifa actually exists. That's what
Oh,
they've been,
yeah,
that's
for
what they've
sure.
been telling
Let alone
everyone.
go to people's
They
houses.
can't now switch their tune because then it'll prove that they've been wrong for the past 2 months. So
Now
they can't switch.
And now that Antifa knows, they can go to someone's house and nothing will be said about them negative.
That's a good point.
Now
That's
they can
scary.
go to anybody's house. See, if the media called them out there, they would have defended themselves and said, well, we wouldn't, but like, look what she was doing. Now that the media said nothing, it's like, carte blanche, go for it. Go to somebody's house.
Yeah.
They went to Andy No's house.
Did they?
Yeah, a while ago. And they've been threatening and intimidating him. They physically attacked him in the street.
Yeah.
And look, they've been to Tucker Carlson's house. They've been to Cassandra Fairbanks' house. They went to the politicians' homes. This is terrorism, dude.
I'm sure they don't like us.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, but I think I keep a lot of it to ideas. We both do.
Yeah.
We're either talking about the highest level or the general concept.
True.
When you start talking, you name one of these people, and they'll come to your house. And that's the thing about Andy.
Yeah, he does call each and every one of them out.
Andy does. So whenever these people get arrested, their information is public.
Yep.
So Andy reports on who the people are, what they're doing. For this, they've made up insane fake news about him, and they go after him. They go to his house, they attack him and stuff like that. So, but definitely, they don't like what we're doing. That's
Nope.
for sure.
Definitely not.
They love it when the media lies. What was it, that video they put out where they were like, stop filming us and posting videos because we're getting arrested?
Yep, they're basically just begging people to please stop filming us doing what we're doing because people are finding us through those videos and arresting us. And all I can think is just like, good
Bro,
riddance.
did you-
keep filming? People are gonna film it because they want the clicks. Sorry, that's kind of what the society is now. People want to get those views, they want to get the shares, and you're the star of the show, and we're all watching you like you're the spoiled little brat that you are. And you're getting arrested because you're rioting, not protesting anymore. You're rioting. What's this?
Now this story gets crazy, bro. So
Oh, man.
that previous story, I'll say, was just in connection to Bill Barr is going after these people,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that we started with talking about Trump and his enemies. Then you get Bill Barr, and he's the one launching these investigations, prosecutions as the attorney general. So that's why I'm worried about Bill Barr as well.
Yeah. Good point.
Then you see this Antifa guy who gets released, and the feds jump in and lock him up. I wouldn't be surprised if the stuff we see in Portland, we're going to start seeing federal indictments. We literally are.
Well, the FBI has a list of over 300 people that they're going after.
Exactly.
Right now.
Now this story is getting a little crazy. Check this out. One tweet tried to identify a cop, then 5 people were charged with felony harassment.
Whoa.
Is retweeting an officer's photo cyber harassment? Now, the first thing I'll point out is I do not trust The Verge.
Okay.
The Verge is far left. They lie. However, this story is essentially what they're saying. Some far leftist published a photo. There was a cop wearing I think it was a thin blue line mask.
Okay.
And they said something like, if anyone knows who this B is, throw his info under this tweet. And then there were 5 retweets, I think. And so those people who retweeted it, they're charged with felonies.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Felony harassment. That's
Yep.
what you said?
Now, there's an interesting thing about this.
Interesting.
You know, my first reaction is, does this cross the line, right? If I'm a journalist and I'm like, hey, I'm trying to figure out who this guy is and crowdsource some information, is that harassing somebody?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question. I mean, they literally dox people to get people to go to their
houses
and
Exactly.
attack them. So, I mean, if you're trying to do a story on someone, it's as journalists,
But it's the action itself.
you're right, exactly.
here-
And the intent.
So
also.
this, I got to say, this does to me feel extremely flimsy.
Okay.
And it may just be an intimidation tactic,
Good point.
using the arrest to shock and scare. But there is still, I think, an argument. These people are retweeting it. That's a group of people getting together, showing someone's face, and
Yep.
asking for their private information.
Yep.
So I guess the argument is, typically harassment is persistent. But what if you have group harassment or some kind of cyber stalking with a group of people? If like, it's like gang violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're by yourself and you get into a fight, they might just be like, bad hair to everybody, go home. You're with a group of people wearing like, some imagery or something, and they'll say it's gang violence. That's what happened in New York with the Proud Boys. So Proud Boys fighting Antifa was gang violence. Okay. If these far leftists are grouping up online to target cops and it's literally to pull up private information, are they engaging in harassment because they're in a group of people?
Well, and they all tend to have like the the little hammer and sickle. They're proudly posting it in their names now.
Yeah.
We're seeing that.
Or Rose.
So I
It's
don't
tough.
know. I don't
It's
know
tough.
if they did. But that's basically like wearing all wearing the same bandana.
My big problem with this story, you got the ACLU obviously saying that it's ridiculous. They said that they confirmed the existence to The Verge and said this individual is as did the attorney. The Verge has also reviewed it. So I guess I don't know what the ACLU is saying. Obviously they're viewing it rather negatively, I guess. But I'll tell you right away, when I see The Verge talking about it, my first question is, what did they omit?
Good point.
Look, man, there was a story once from The Verge, and it talked about Blair White.
Okay.
Yeah, you familiar with Blair?
I know a little bit about her. Yeah.
Yeah. So Blair White, conservative, trans YouTuber, and The Verge wrote like a smear about Blair.
Okay.
Blair then said, "Whoa, this is like ridiculously not true." So then the author then just said, "Oh, okay, we'll fix it," and added a whole new paragraph of fake news and lies, more smears,
More
lies.
Oh man.
And I reached out to somebody who was involved because I know a lot of these people. I worked in the New York media space.
Yeah.
And they just didn't respond to me.
Of course not.
And I'm like, this is nuts. I was like, I reached out to this person. I know this person. We've had lunch on several occasions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, I just want to give you a heads up. This is not true. And, I think you guys should issue a correction. Ignore. Stayed up. So when I see this story, you know what I think? I wonder what they were doing behind the scenes. I wonder what the cops actually know about what they were doing. Sorry, I don't trust them. I don't trust the ACLU because the ACLU is overtly engaging in racist, policy, anti-civil rights
Yep.
on numerous occasions. I know The Verge has published fake news. I would not be surprised if the goal of this article is to make it seem like they did nothing wrong and they're simply being persecuted for just posting silly tweets.
Yeah. Right.
And it's because of the lies they've put out that's put me in this position. Because I'll tell you what, if this story on its face is true, I don't think they should be charged for this.
Well, I mean, all they're saying is that they retweeted it. But they could be leaving out that they retweeted it with information of the person that they were asking for. Like trying to spread the fact that they know who this person is, retweet, here's some information I've got. Anybody else have more information about this specific person because we got to go after him. Maybe they were openly talking about it. We don't know.
And there's I can't really find any other stories talking about it other than The Verge.
Wow.
So I'll tell you this.
So
man.
why would they even talk about it? Just because they're trying to make the cops that arrested him look bad?
It's a
you know?
hot story.
I guess, yeah.
It's to be like, whoa, look at this encroachment, this authoritarianism. I'll tell you what, right
Yeah.
away. First,
Oh, they're really fascist. See proof.
absolutely.
Yep.
And hey, I'll tell you what, if they're telling the truth on this, then these people I don't think they should be charged, especially with a felony for posting a photo. But it's getting interesting, I'll tell you what. Because at a certain point, we have a serious problem with doxing and harassment, showing up to people's homes.
Mm-hmm.
The officer basically said that it made them feel threatened because they were trying to their family, their information. You know, it's crazy. In Portland, when the cops switched from name badges to unique identifier codes.
Yeah, the numbers.
It's very much like Watchmen, the new series.
I haven't seen it yet.
I didn't, and I'm not going to.
Okay.
But in the show, all the cops start wearing masks because people were publishing, the bad guys. This is really funny. In the show Watchmen, the bad guys were publishing their information.
Huh.
It's like, welcome to real life, where the bad guys are still the ones publishing their information. Only this time, it's the people who think they're the good guys. But this is a dramatic escalation. So this will be interesting to see where this kicks off to. If
Shop
other
the
people
88 Brand Special
start,
from
are they going to start getting charged for doxing? The crazy thing is, I shouldn't say crazy. I guess the sort of funny thing is, as with all of these far leftist moves they make, they dox all day and night.
Right.
They put up websites with people's names and information, and then they cry and complain when someone else does it. That's the name of the game. They'll hit you, and then as soon as you hit back, they go, help, help, I'm being repressed.
I'm a victim now. See,
Yep.
proof that I'm a victim. You put yourself under the boot.
These
Like,
are little
what?
These are little kids who knew to pretend to be bullied in school to get what they wanted.
That's a good point.
The teacher would walk by and they'd pretend to fall down and go like, "They shoved me," and they'd be like, "Oh, I'll take them," and haha, I got you, and the kid would get in trouble.
Yep.
That's what they're doing, man. But we'll see, because I'll tell you what, I'm not a fan of government overreach or authoritarianism. The
Same.
government, if somebody, there's a fine line between posting a public photo. If you're in public and someone takes a photo, well, then you don't have an reasonable expectation of privacy. He was wearing a mask. They're calling to dox him. Multiple people got involved. Seems silly, but maybe we need to start talking about consequences for online mob behavior.
Good point.
So it's like,
Especially when it's leading to or alluding that they want to promote real life violence, because that's what it seems like they were doing here.
Harm. It's beyond. It's
Okay.
So check it out. If a group of people goes to Yelp and then claims your business serves bad food and it's all fraud,
And it's all just a bunch of Karens
maybe
screaming about
maybe
it.
we need a law saying group fraud is illegal. If you engage in an online brigade, a group of people lying about a business
just because.
because you don't like them, that maybe we need some legislation about that.
How do you prove that, though?
It's really difficult because it's a free speech issue.
Exactly.
And this is what's getting challenging, where so like when I put on this event in the Philly area, and a bunch of Antifa started calling the venues,
Yeah.
and lying like crazy, like we can't sue each and every one of these people. Yes, they're lying. Yes, it's defamation. It's libelous, and there were even violent threats. What are we gonna do? Launch 1,500 lawsuits against each and every one? It's
Right.
impossible. It's impossible. So this kind of thing didn't exist before the information age.
Yeah, it's true.
You might get people believing fake news for sure, but the scale to which regular people from across this country, here's what's happening in this area. So where we are, we were going to put on an event with Daryl Davis, famed
Amazing man.
Yeah, he de-radicalized like over 200 Klansmen, white supremacists.
Awesome dude.
We did put an event on with him, mind you, but with Daryl Davis, famed
Amazing man.
Yeah, he de-radicalized like over 200 Klansmen, white supremacists.
Awesome dude.
We did put an event on with him, mind you, but some Antifa people called and basically threatened to burn down the theater
Yep.
at the 11th hour, and the theater canceled on us. These people didn't live here. I do. They started lying to the press saying we won't allow them to come here. And I was like, bro, you guys that are coming here are from upstate. This is my town where I'm putting on an event. In my town. Now, if we didn't have internet coordination or whatever, that wouldn't have happened. The people who live here would not have had large numbers. There wouldn't have been any phone calls. Maybe one person would call and be like, I don't like this. They'd be like, too bad. But because the internet exists, these venues started getting phone calls from San Francisco. And I actually got to listen in on one of these calls, and it was hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, so the guy calls, he calls up and he's like, I just want to let you know that you're hosting white supremacists, and this is unacceptable. And because of this, I will no longer be patronizing your business. And the venue was like, your area code is San Francisco. And the guy was like, yes. Sir, have you ever been to this venue? No. Do you live in California? Yeah. Then why do I care what you think? I was like the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. Like, seriously.
It's embarrassing, really.
But when you get inundated with emails, these people don't know.
That's
All
true.
of a sudden, they're like, I've never seen this much. And so it's a coordinated fraud.
Yep.
And they argue it's free speech.
Well, and we've talked about these people on the left. They've got nothing better to do but then to be victims and collectively get together and shoot their anger at people that are just trying to live their lives.
It's scary because I was thinking about it earlier, that everything's so good now that we've created extreme entitlement. So I was thinking
Good point.
about, so the better things get and the less work needs to be done, the more you end up with people who demand everything and don't do anything.
And and they don't have a purpose.
Really?
Exactly.
Because
There's no job to do.
there's no job to do. Right.
So I was thinking about this in terms of like universal healthcare debate and all this stuff. And I was like, if you have only, the amount of production required, the amount of labor required to produce food to feed everybody,
The lentil soup's now being
it's
cooked in
getting
15,
easier and
20
easier for us
minutes.
to mass
Yeah,
produce
so we just
food.
finish off with a bit of
We have better
thyme,
machinery, better technology,
a tiny
and
bit of
now
olive oil, which is
Americans
very Italian
pretty
to
fat.
have with lentil soup.
So at a certain point, most people can literally sit around all day, and in America, we have fat homeless people. That's right.
True.
Tiny bit of olive
So
oil.
we have homeless people today that
I
are
put a tiny
fatter
bit of oil
than
in
the
the
fattest
pan,
man in the world 100
which I'm
years
going
ago.
to rub out with my cloth.
So what ends up happening is
This will assist
you get a lot
me
of people who don't
in
have
cooking
to
the
do any
sardines
work,
without the skin
and they
sticking.
demand these things be
Little
taken care of.
olive
I see these posts where they're like, what a cold
once
and
you put all the
callous system
meatballs in,
capitalism
there's
is that,
tremendous loss of
tells
heat in the
people
pan.
you have to
And what you
work
don't
to
want
survive.
is
And I'm
for-
like,
Now,
okay,
splash
have
of
you ever
olive
gone
oil.
camping?
Yeah,
Like,
For
have
the
you ever
11th minute, it
lived
should be being drained
out
and
in the
back into
woods
sauce.
by yourself without society propping you up,
nope.
without a toilet,
Olive
without
oil.
running water?
So here's the problem. We're seeing a clash.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I think a big reason we're seeing a rise of socialists and communists, college being one factor,
Yeah.
and not just about
Carrots.
indoctrination, about the fact that they're all in massive debt and they don't see a way out, so they just want the government to bail them out. But I think we're seeing a clash now, as you're having, it's easier and easier to
Just gives
produce
you that
basic necessities
Mediterranean,
for people.
like a minestrone.
And so we're getting more and more people who are demanding it, but people still have to work. And therein lies the big problem with these communists. It's mind-blowing to me when I try to have these conversations about universal health care, and I'm like,
I don't
okay,
think it's fair.
personally, I'm totally for it.
A man on
The problem
table 6
is
wants an eggless omelette.
we literally can't have
He wants an
universal
egg.
health care.
You
It's
can't have an
physically
eggless
impossible
omelette, can you?
because
Why do we not have
some
any?
treatments
No, they
are
don't exist,
extremely.
do they? Because there's no breadsticks. What are they made of?
Bread?
Bread. Very good. Okay, take away the bread. What are you left with?
Sticks?
No. There you go. That's an eggless omelette.
Okay.
No, don't take the plate, Kiki. What are you doing? Please.
Kiki, just ask the nice man if he'd like his omelette made with whole eggs or just egg whites. You can leave the plate.
Kiki, you can't have an eggless omelette, can you?
Why do we not have any?
No, they don't exist, do they? Because there's no breadsticks. What are they made of?
Bread?
Bread. Very good. Okay, take away the bread. What are you left with?
Sticks?
No. There you go. That's an eggless omelette.
Okay.
No, don't take the plate, Kiki. What are you doing? Please.
Kiki, just ask the nice man if he'd like his omelette made with whole eggs or just egg whites. You can leave the plate. There you go.
Scarce and may only be available to like 100 people.
Yeah.
Let's say
and be millions of dollars for that one treatment.
I hate the pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
I think EpiPens and insulin cost way too much. I think one thing we can do is base coverage basic care, like things like insulin, things like EpiPens, things like you break your hand, you can go in. These things make sense to me. It would still be very expensive. But it's mind-blowing when I have arguments or conversations with people about universal health care, and I'm like, what if there's a cure for something, but it's extremely difficult to produce, and it requires a specialist who's very expensive? How do we get that to every person?
Right.
The reality is you can't. So what happens is the rich person buys it and the poor person doesn't.
Yep.
And they're like, no, that's ridiculous. We shouldn't let people die because they're poor. Okay, if you have 1,000 people who have a disease and only 100 cures, you quite literally can't cure them all. So what ends up happening now with these far leftists is they're living in a world where there's infinite food, medicine can cure literally any disease, therefore the government should just give it to everybody. Oh, and it's all infinite. There's scarce. They believe we're already in a post-scarcity reality.
Yeah, that's totally wrong.
Well, this is the clash we're facing now, and that's one of the reasons why they're rioting. They live in a fairy tale world where they think everything is for them.
Well, they get the think about the parents that they probably have that have just been like, I'm going to make life as easy as possible for you, and life will always be easy. Don't worry. I'm going to give you everything. How dare you, teacher? You didn't teach my son or daughter to be great.
I just realized something interesting.
What?
These Antifa people, they are, it's a crowd of Marie Antoinettes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I see it.
the ideal let them eat cake was there was a famine. People were starving, and she was like, if they're starving, then why don't they have cake? And I don't know a whole lot of, it's a bit apocryphal, I suppose. The general idea is she was saying, like, give them bread. There's, like, literally no food. They're starving. And she was like, I don't understand, because she was rich and snooty, wealthy, privileged, and all that stuff.
Or ignorant, really.
Right. But in her privilege, wealth, the real privilege,
Yeah.
she always had food. So she was like, I don't understand why they're upset. Just let them have cake, And so I don't know if she actually said it. Some people say she didn't. But the point is, you have all of these Antifa people going around smashing things, saying, give everyone cake. And it's like, we can't. It's not possible. So
We deserve cake. We want the cake.
You know what really, really bugs me too?
What?
I see all these memes all the time talking about free everything.
Yeah.
One of them I saw, so we talk about universal health care. One of the things I saw was, it was a post where it was like Jimmy Neutron or something. It's a stupid meme. And it was like, did you know that we have this many million empty homes and only this many thousands of homeless people? We could quite literally put homeless people in homes. And I'm like, said like somebody who truly has never owned a property.
Yep.
You can't just take a homeless person who's homeless for a variety of reasons, including mental health issues, put them in a vacant property, and then walk away. You're literally sweeping the problem under the rug.
Yeah.
The person's not going to have food. They're not going to pay their utility bills. The walls are going to fall apart. The house is going to collapse. They're going to die, and then it's going to spread to other houses and destroy everything.
Yep.
And then I get these responses from these lefties where they're like, "You're so dumb. You don't even understand. Like, there's literally a house." And I was like, bro.
Did you not listen to what I just said?
I was like,
it's not going to give them a job. It's not going to give them ambition to further their life. You got to also think about the mental state of these people. Some people don't want to work. Some people don't care enough to want to further themselves. So how do you help somebody like that? You give them something, then all of a sudden, then they think they're entitled to that, and then they work even less.
This is what
the
all
welfare
of these people
system.
They don't get. There is no way that you can have this world where they sit back and just read a book all day and everything's taken care of for them. We are in a constant state of entropy. When you leave a house alone, it starts falling apart.
Yep.
This is why these companies hire caretakers. So they're there, they can look at the rooms, they can clean things up, because eventually it gets moldy, it falls apart, a pipe will burst. They had a big problem in Chicago with pipes freezing. So vacant properties have this problem. The pipe will freeze, it'll burst, and then all of a sudden the place floods.
Hey guys, Dantix here, back with another Cyberpunk 2077 news video. CD Projekt Red is being coy about when the next live event is, but it's rumored to be dropping this month. I, however, have some quick and juicy info to partially quench your thirst before then. Information on the skill melee takes, NPC body language, the map, and more.
Just think about all the good shit we're gonna have, huh?
Getting right into it, Easy Allies went hands-on with the game and recently put out a preview video that revealed some more information that we didn't previously know. So I'll run through the 3 points that haven't been discussed. You may have seen my katana footage floating around YouTube, and if you did, you either don't mind it or hate how melee looks. Easy Allies claims to find the melee mechanically enjoyable. said that there's a bit of skill involved and it won't be just about mashing buttons. There are light and heavy attacks, parries, guard breaks, dodging, and more. There will be technique involved to parry, guard break, and dodge, as well as timing when to strike. Like suspected, the footage we saw is fairly early and the character had no real investment into melee. This gives me hope that the melee combat will be enjoyable, which goes hand in hand with the fact that you die fairly quickly without investment into your health and resistances. You can only survive a few bullets or attacks, which apparently adds to the consequence of making mistakes while sneaking or during dialogue. I'll talk about specific dialogue consequences soon because it's the most exciting piece of information I've heard lately. Easy Allies also mentions that equipping weapons with simply higher damage numbers isn't always the best for your character, as the actual weapon type and function matters more. Each have their own pros and cons, so you might see a heavy weapon with an absurd amount of DPS, but perhaps a pistol is better suited because it won't burn through its ammo in seconds and will be more accurate.
The dialogue system in Cyberpunk 2077 is fully gameplay driven.
So circling back, the September issue of the official PlayStation magazine has revealed some juicy information on dialogue sequences. For those who don't know already, conversations in Cyberpunk 2077 won't lock you in place. You are free to move around, interact with other things, and respond how you see fit, even letting you walk away from conversations you don't want to have. However, as revealed in the PlayStation magazine, you may want to pay close attention to what's happening around you and the NPCs in question. The world of Cyberpunk is a dangerous place and it's full of morally ambiguous individuals. You really can't trust anyone. Some NPCs will display noticeable body language while talking to V. Even some may subtly reach for something behind their backs before they attack you. You may see suspicious cars pull up across the road or gang members getting closer. You're really encouraged to look for these signs as it gives you a chance to preemptively respond. If you feel like your life is in danger, you can run away or get to a more defensible position, or you can even strike before they do. You can use this situation to turn the negotiations to your advantage. Listen to this. CD Projekt Red claims that Cyberpunk 2077 has over 2 thick books of dialogue written for the title. One of them contains what is spoken by the NPCs, while the other contains all the responses the player can make. That means that conversations with NPCs and your interactions with them will be just as important as the combat. Think Mass Effect, though the dialogue and choice book in 3 were from the ground to the developer's hip in size. It's interesting that Cyberpunk is like this because usually dialogue is a time to sit back in your chair and relax, maybe warm up some food or sip your coffee. Night City won't let you do this as you may constantly be on guard. Just a reminder that the choices you make with these characters will affect how the Cyberpunk 2077 story ends. I've already reported on how the game can be finished without finishing the mainline missions, instead being like a supposed wheat spike structure, where you may be able to finish it down a side quest. The potential outcomes seem absolutely mind-boggling. Perhaps you kill someone before they betray you based on their body language, and that sets you down a path other than the main line. I'm excited for all the possibilities, but the more rich the game's choices become, the more I worry about the length of the title, though I'm sure I'll play it through hundreds of times to see all the outcomes. So here we have the official map of Cyberpunk 2077. Now, keep in mind that these are the main roads, so the size of the map will be quite a bit bigger than this leads on. Through the artwork we've seen, we know this to be true. Just take a look at the artwork for Pacifica. This seems to be the tiny corner of the coast view section of the map, and look how much there is to see. Cold Fur 3 on Reddit has mocked up some size estimates. Keep in mind that this doesn't include other areas like the Badlands. Let's take the smallest estimate, 51 kilometers squared. A single road in Little China is over 1,000 meters. We know that Cyberpunk will be extremely dense and vertical as per the comments from devs and everyone that's played it, so once again, I really think you shouldn't worry that there won't be enough to see. So thanks again for watching this short news roundup. Hopefully this has added to your excitement for the game because it certainly has for me. Alright, just a quick heads up, YouTube isn't my primary method of income. In fact, I don't make enough here to get by.
Can the new guy ask you veterans a few questions about the prison?
No, you can't date the female guards.
Trust me,
You don't want to.
Yep.
So they do want people inside. But if you take a homeless person and you just put them in a house, and I'm going to cite Jim Cramer on this, and I want to talk a little bit of economics.
Okay.
Jim Cramer said the best numbers of our lives in reference to the stock market, unemployment, all of these things under Trump before COVID, just broke everything down. And the Democrats locked down all of these, basically locked everything down. And they're arresting people who dare try to run their business. There's a couple things that say to me it's not at all about COVID. There was a woman who was live streaming on Facebook products in her store and saying, I'm going to show you, tell me what you want, and then I can mail it to you. The police were sent in to shut her down.
What?
I'm not kidding. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Why?
This is a while ago. No idea. She said they were like, ma'am, you have to close. And she goes, we are closed. Can't you see the sign? And they're like, yeah, but you're doing stream to sell stuff. And she's like, yes, I'm in my building with the door closed. People, what? And they were like, nope, you have to stop.
Man, so that makes me think of that tweet that AOC tweeted that everyone Larry David Larry David.
Listen up.
Sorry. Man, what is his name? Who did Uncle Tom the movie? I'm spacing right now.
Oh shoot, Larry Elder.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Larry Elder just tweeted this, and people are hitting me up like, whoa, is this real? And it's that AOC tweet that's saying, look, we just got to keep the economy down because if it rebounds, it'll help Trump get reelected. And it's just like, I think it's fake.
It's fake.
I know, right? There's no proof that it's a real thing, but man, does it make sense that's? I mean, what you're just saying? It's
Take a look at the source.
Why are they trying to do this?
Take a look at the source.
It's clear that they want to keep the economy down because that's what Trump is known for. He built an amazing economy. Like we were churning money. Everyone was making money.
News 12, New Jersey. Police interrupt business owner as she was selling items on Facebook Live.
Wow.
A small business owner who had to close her non-essential business says that she has had several run-ins with police while she tried to make some money. The latest incident came while Catherine Hermes was conducting a shop-from-home style Facebook Live from her country home store in downtown Bernardsville. Hermes and a friend were inside the store, both not wearing masks, showing off the products to viewers who can purchase them online. Police showed up around 9 p.m. on Tuesday. Police told Hermes that it had to be closed after 8 p.m. and that she and her friend needed to have masks on. Hermes defied the executive order forcing her to close when she opened her store to customers last Saturday. She did physically open her store at one point. But this was her doing a live stream. Could you imagine if right now the cops showed up and said, yo, business is shut down. What do you think you're doing talking on the internet?
I think the internet would riot.
Did anybody riot for her?
I didn't know about it till right now.
I covered it when it happened. I talked about it, and I said...
Well, to be fair, I don't watch all of your segments.
No, I know. But listen, this is not about COVID.
No, it's definitely not.
A little old lady, okay, I'm exaggerating, a woman running her business.
Yeah.
I think she's like a boomer or middle-aged. And she's live streaming products, and they show up and say, shut it down. You can't do this. Wow. What?
That's crazy.
How is she spreading COVID by selling stuff on the internet?
I know,
I order stuff from Amazon all the time.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Amazon is being bolstered. Their stock is going way up because they're the only thing left. And now I'm going to show you what's going on. So here's my ultimate point as we get into this.
Yeah.
Jim Cramer, best numbers of our lives. Out of Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who do you think is going to help fix the economy? I have literally no reason to believe Joe Biden can do anything to help the economy. And all of the things I don't like about Trump are irrelevant when it comes to who knows how to make money. Sorry, it's not going to be Joe Biden.
No.
Which brings me now to the more serious stuff I've been seeing lately. Check this out. Bitcoin price rises above 3%. Rises 3% as gold trades above $2,000 for the first time. I have no idea what it means that gold is above $2,000 for the first time, but I can tell you that I have seen gold and silver go way up recently. Look at this. Gold prices surge midday Tuesday to reach an intraday record above 2013. Silver jumps nearly 5%. What is silver currently trading at?
27.
27.
Yeah, from 22 just the other day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude.
Wow, man.
It's up.
That's
Check
crazy.
this out. Early stage mortgage delinquencies hit 21-year high. This stuff is freaky news, man.
That's crazy. 21-year high.
So listen, I've talked to a lot of people about why you got to buy your gold, people. And they're always telling me different things. I've heard from some people that people are buying gold right now because they're not confident in the U.S. economy. So they're you basically look at it this way. You've got two platforms that are going up and down, and you want to stay floating. So everybody's jumping over to hard metals because they retain their value, because they think dollar's going to drop. People can't pay for their houses. People are, I think it's, what is it? It's a 21-year high. The spike caused an overall mortgage delinquency rate to jump to 6.1 from 3.6 in March, interrupting 27 straight months of declines, according to a report from CoreLogic. So we're now entering the 2008 territory. Apparently, we're worse than the Great Depression or whatever. What happens next? A lot of people think that, once this is all over, once the lockdowns end, everything recovers. But they're telling us second wave, and they're telling us to lock down again. They're trying to make sure these businesses are crushed completely.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
The economy is going to be in the gutter, and that's why people are jumping ship. I don't know what their plan is, but I'll tell you what, for me at least, doesn't make me confident in Joe Biden. Makes me absolutely more scared that Joe Biden would win.
Yeah.
What would make anybody think he's going to fix the economy, especially when we're seeing all this insanity?
True that.
No, Trump is the economics guy.
Yes, he is.
What happened with New York in the 80s or whatever?
In 1983, when he finished the Trump Tower, I mean, he convinced a lot of rich people to move in. And that increase of money, like one apartment sold for $10 million. New York got the taxes from that. So all these taxes that he dragged in when he finished that building, I mean, crime was crazy in New York in the 70s. So when that happened, like Donald Trump changed New York City with that tower. He changed it. All the rich people that moved in, all of a sudden they were there. Yep.
Bolstered the tax base.
Yes, he did. Exactly.
What's happening in New York now?
Oh, can we talk about that next? This is a perfect segue. All right, so check this out. This is from, what is this? Fox News. Cuomo calls on wealthy New Yorkers to come back to the city. I'll buy you a drink.
Ooh. Truly sad.
You did this to yourself, Cuomo and de Blasio. They did this.
To be fair, Cuomo's made more mistakes. He's made tons of mistakes.
True.
But he has been repeatedly saying for a long time he does not want to raise the taxes on the rich. They're already really high, and he needs them to stay.
Yep.
Because he knows exactly what you're talking about. With Donald Trump building that tower, inviting the rich people to come to New York under this, it was hip, it was popular. You want to live in this building. It was luxury. It was cool.
It's still a nice building.
Oh, definitely. I heard he's got a golden toilet. Is that true?
I don't know. I want to use it, though.
Right.
I mean, who doesn't, right?
Exactly.
Anyway, rich people moved in. It bolstered the tax base. It resurrected this city. I was watching a documentary about it. This is why Cuomo is begging them to come back. They're not coming back.
No. Why would they?
You have to be insane to go back to Bill de Blasio, New York City.
Absolutely.
That guy's nuts.
Yeah, I feel bad for that city. I spent half of my life there. I have a big love for New York, but not anymore. Like I see what they've done to the city and what they don't care about the people in the city. That's all I see.
You know what makes me really angry? I've never been a MAGA person.
No.
I've never. I sit back in my chair in 2016 when the Trump people and the Hillary people were all yelling, and then when Trump won, I just laughed.
Yeah.
Because
I remember you telling me.
The comeuppance of the snooty elites.
Yep.
But I didn't vote. I didn't care. I'm like, I'm not gonna have anything to do with this. But now, I'm really angry the Democrats have forced me into a position where it's like, you finally done it. I got to climb off this thing. This fence, it's really tall, okay? I've been sitting on this fence minding my own business, and I got to climb down and go, press a vote button because I look at the history. Donald Trump launches Trump Tower, bolsters the tax base in New York City. Hey, that makes sense. The city starts making more money. It works.
Yeah.
Donald Trump gives us the best economy of our lives, according to Jim Cramer. I can't deny that. I'm like...
Yeah, the past 70 years. A couple people's lives.
The data was there. The data said unemployment was at a massive low for marginalized communities. We were seeing, businesses doing better and better. And I was like, I can recognize that, but I'm still kind of like, whatever. I have no incentive to get involved. Now the Democrats are literally burning everything in the ground.
Yep.
They're the ones shutting things down. I am being forced to leave this state because of the insane governor of New Jersey. This guy's nuts.
Who's another one that has blood on his hands because he was
putting people in these nursing homes. What do they think I'm stupid? Do they think I don't like people like? Listen.
Yes, Tim. They definitely do.
Right.
They think the American public is stupid.
But this is the point I'm making is, I run a business. I run a bunch of businesses. I got to do a ton of research. I got to talk to lawyers all the time. I got to read the news all day. I mean, for me, it's look, I get it. The guy who's selling, you know, chairs at a furniture store doesn't have to read the news all day. But people who run businesses are paying attention probably to a greater degree to understand what the new regulations are. Can I sell these chairs anymore because they passed this new law?
Yep.
And they're seeing the governor of New Jersey and Pennsylvania and New York going. I don't know about Cuomo himself, but the mayor of New York going out and marching with these protesters just after they burned down a bunch of parts of their cities.
Yep.
And they're going, what?
Or that $1 billion company that moved to Texas or
Yeah.
moved to Arizona.
Yeah, from Seattle.
From Seattle.
It was a $1 billion hedge fund. So I don't know what they managed a lot of
well,
assets.
they're no longer in Seattle.
Yep.
They're in Phoenix now. So
How could anyone look at all this and think Joe Biden is going to save us from this crisis?
when he doesn't even make appearances, and he can barely, you know, create a solid sentence that's coherent. Like I never understand what he's saying. It's always just a joke to me. Like, wow, it's kind of fun, like trying to figure out what he's saying.
So what are our options? Do people really think like, hey, vote for Biden so everything can burn to the ground?
Right.
It's like, okay, look, I understand Trump's got, you know, what did Sargon say about him? Because they don't like his diction.
Right.
I'm like, that's one way to put it. But he's not the character. You know, there's a lot I could talk about, but I don't care to rehash all this stuff.
Well, the whole thing about this will be Biden's America.